Arthur is a beloved show for kids, but did you know that there were episodes that were downright bloody? Let's take a look at how much we'll be seeing red. The episode opens with the kids getting some rancid-looking lunch, while Buffy brags about her personal chef preparing her a packed meal. It wouldn't be bragging too much, though, considering said chef looks like they just gave her the same gooey potatoes and gravy the school serves. They all then decide to talk about what grosses them out, because kids are gross. Right on cue, George walks in with a nosebleed. Francine, being mega bitch supreme, proceeds to mock him as everyone laughs, including Arthur, who you'd think would be a bit sympathetic considering how often he's the target of her bullying. The only person who doesn't seem to be laughing is Sue Ellen, who looks at George with genuine concern while she hands him a napkin. And that's why she's one of the best characters on the show. As Francine continues her assholery, she gets a healthy dose of karma by throwing up in front of everyone. At the nurse's office, the nurse tells Francine that she's got a stomach bug, while Francine's socks magically change colors. That night, her older sister Catherine delightfully tells her she's going to be the laughingstock of the whole school. Catherine then brings up how one of her own classmates is still known as the Barf Kid 5 years after it happened. I guess we now know that Francine's bitchiness runs in the family. Also, I know kids can be cruel and all, but who the hell still brings up humiliating events at school 5 whole years after the fact? Did literally nothing else noteworthy happen in that half a decade? Then again, I suppose Catherine could be lying just to be an asshole. Francine then has a dream where she walks into school, and everyone reacts as though they just got told she has the coronavirus. Too soon? The next morning, all of her friends show concern for her, and she's immediately suspicious, probably because she knows that she would have less than pure intentions if she was in their position. She even throws a brown bag given to her by Buster right back at him. At home, Catherine continues to torment her, and while she is finally getting a taste of her own medicine, Catherine deserves just as much blame for Francine being the way she is.
Call you Barfine?
I'm not saying that siblings need to get along 24/7, but this doesn't feel like Catherine giving her sister some humble pie. This just feels downright sadistic. If this is a regular occurrence, it's not much surprise that Francine takes that out on her own classmates. Not that it justifies her attitude, but sure as hell would explain it. Later, Francine attempts to extend an olive branch to George, who is still clearly traumatized by the constant teasing. Once he asks why they laugh at him, but not at her, he explains that's because he's popular. In a moment of self-awareness, Francine remarks that that's not fair. Which, no, it isn't. But I can't help but think that has less to do with popularity, and more like they're afraid of getting clobbered by her if they piss her off. She did throw that bag right at Buster's head after all. Right after their conversation, their classmates all arrive at once at the sugar bowl. Thinking she's going to hurl again, Francine bumps into George, which triggers another nosebleed. Once she hears them all laughing at him, she gives them a well-deserved chewing out about their double standards.
I barf and Buster gives me flowers and candy. And a comic book.
What the hell happened to Bionic Buddy? With that artwork, I can't help but think it's a backhanded get well soon gift. And right after she learns her lesson and gets her friends to change their attitude, she now no longer feels nauseous. Which means the fates have done their job if Francine stopped her bullying ways, right? Let's just move on to the next episode. The cold open begins with us looking inside of Arthur. And by that, I mean we're introduced to his internal organs, including yet another reference to Arthur being a fat ass.
Arthur eat too much candy again? Worse. Cake.
We even get a reference to Arthur being a dumbass.
Hey, where are you? Sorry about this, folks. Looks like Arthur's forgotten to use his brain again.
I guess someone really wants to make Arthur their punching bag. As if he isn't enough of one already. At Arthur's house, Arthur and the Brain are building a Foxy Cherry for a school project. As they give it a test run, though, one of the wheels comes loose, and Arthur falls right on his ass. Unfortunately, this will be the least of his injuries during this episode. As the Brain returns home for a lunch break, Arthur heads out to get a replacement wheel. He's planning on going to the dump, which is a place where his parents don't want him to go. DW threatens to tell on him, so he reluctantly agrees to take her with him. When they arrive, Arthur spots a wheel down at the bottom of the pit. We then get to witness one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the whole series. Seriously, I don't remember thinking much of this as a kid, but as an adult, I'm eternally cringing throughout. Look at how much dirty, hazardous junk that's in this hole. And that's only the stuff we can't see. Imagine how much broken glass or rusty nails could be buried in there. And it only gets worse from here. After Arthur retrieves the wheel, he makes a treacherous climb back up. Just as he reaches the top, he cuts his knee on a lima beans can, and he loses the tire. We then get to see his injury in all its bloody glory. Okay, it's no more graphic than the worst injuries you'll see in a kid's cartoon, but still, thinking about getting a nasty cut from an old dirty tin can is downright harrowing. DW wants to tell their dad about their perilous escapade, but Arthur reminds her to keep her promise. In a very unexpected character moment, DW waxy ups her brother into the house while evading their parents, all while Arthur groans in pain along the way. Oh great, now you're going to get grass and dirt in it too. We then get to see DW in one of her most sympathetic moments. She's struggling between keeping her promise to Arthur, but also wanting to tell her parents about what happened. Not because of her usual annoying little sister antics, but because she's genuinely concerned for his well-being. As she ponders on how she could potentially get Arthur to tell it himself, the Brain returns to Arthur's house. She takes him to see Arthur, and the Brain explains to him just how serious the situation is. He gives him, and us, a quick biology lesson, which demonstrates how Arthur could potentially get an infection and become extremely ill. Not fun. With the Brain's explanation and DW's insistence, Arthur finally agrees to tell his mom about his cut. At the doctor's office, the doctor tells him that he need a tetanus booster and to take some antibiotics. And yet, she neglects to put a bandage over his wound before he rolls his pant leg down. DW then boasts that maybe she'll be a doctor one day too, much to Arthur's dismay. I feel you, kiddo. Arthur's mom is proud of him for coming forward with the truth, but, understandably, he's still grounded for doing something so reckless in the first place. And as part of his punishment, he gets to do his little sister's every bidding. Truly a fate worse than death. It was a bit surprising at how uncomfortable it was to rewatch this episode. Again, I don't remember thinking much of it when I watched it as a kid. Now though, with more knowledge of how nasty infections can be, this definitely triggered some adult fears. The previous episode might have been a bit gross, as I'm not particularly fond of seeing even cartoon nosebleeds, but this one was outright terror-inducing. Some say having more knowledge about something makes you less afraid of it. When it comes to stuff like this, though, I beg to differ. Still, for as queasy as it might have been, I think it was important to have that discomfort level. Not only are serious cuts very painful, but the potential infections can even be life-threatening. Granted, they didn't say that part, probably because they didn't want to scare kids too much, but they still got the danger point across, and that the sooner you get an injury treated, the better. We even get to see DW on her second most sympathetic, the first of course being the time when she got smacked in the mouth and had to get stitches. It seems like she genuinely wants to be a good little sister who wants to keep her promise, but is also clearly concerned for her brother's safety, and doesn't know what the right choice is. Sure, we adults know that telling the parents is obviously the correct thing to do, but for a 4-year-old, I could see why that would be difficult. And the fact that she told him that he needed to tell it himself after hearing all the gritty details was also quite mature of her. For once, she actually listened to her conscience before it was too late. Still, it's weird that she doesn't get punished for going to the dump too. I guess you left that part out. So remember kids, don't be an asshole, and don't go to dumps unprotected. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click like, and subscribe if you want to see more.